Welcome students to a session on improving listening skills. This is the second module. In the previous session, we studied the strategies needed while listening to spoken English. A brief review of them would be to remind ourselves that we should lower our anxiety level, be very attentive while listening to something, look for the main ideas, guess for the meanings from context, and note the supportive details. Strategies for improving listening skills: lowering anxiety, being attentive, listening for main ideas, guessing from context, and noting details. The modules that you are going to listen to are activity based, designed to assess your ability to understand spoken English. The listening modules consist of 3 sections of increasing difficulty. Each section is treated separately and is played only once. I would like to remind you that the questions will appear on the screen. Let me explain to you the 3 sections of the test. Section 1 is in the form of a dialogue between 2 or more speakers. Conversations revolve around social context and needs. This section comprises basic English called survival English. You will first see the questions on the screen and later listen to the dialogue between speakers. Dialogues between speakers on social context. Section 2, passage from Comtech. Section 3 is in the form of dialogues or discussions reflecting academic or professional context. In this section, you will first listen to the discussion or dialogue and later see the questions on screen. Section 3, dialogues or discussions from academic or professional context. Your test paper will appear on the screen. Please take out a sheet of paper and number the questions from 1 to 15. If you are ready with your papers and pens, we will start the test. I would like you to note, you will hear each recording once only. Lakshmi and Raj have persuaded Abdul to join the college football club. Abdul is talking to the club secretary. As you listen, fill in spaces 1 to 6 on the membership form. First, you have some time to look at the form. Now, listen carefully and fill in gaps 1 to 6.
Well, if you could just give me some details. First, your name.
Abdul.
Is that your first name or family name?
First name. My family name is Yusuf.
Yusuf, how do you spell that?
Y-O-U-S-U-F.
Y-O-U-S-U-F. Is that right? Which branch have you taken for study?
Diploma in Electronics and Communications Engineering.
Which year are you in, Abdul?
The first year.
You must have been given your permanent identification number, PIN for short.
Oh yes, my PIN number is 02009EC47.
Let me note it down. 02009 EC47. Is that right?
Yes. Do I have to give you some other details?
Yes, your address.
Why do you want that? Anyway, it is 49 by 24, Gandhinagar, Hyderabad.
That is the end of section 1. You can take a few seconds to look at your answers and check them. Section 2 assesses your listening skills based on a passage picked up from Comtech. The passage is titled Progressive Organizations, Wealth of a Nation. First, look at questions 7 to 11 and then listen to the passage. Now, listen to the passage.
Jagdish Chandra Bose fashioned his own apparatus for his investigations. Thus, he became the first Indian experimental scientist. Throughout his life, he had been dreaming about building an Indian institute on the lines of the Royal Institution of England. It was to be a research laboratory comparable to the best in the best. Modern science was becoming increasingly dependent on good laboratory equipment. India had to make a beginning. Bose loved taking up a challenge. He knew that setting up such an institute would require money. For this purpose, he gave lectures and demonstrations in India and abroad. Thus, he had been saving all his life just for the realization of his dream. Even after his retirement in 1913, at the age of 56, he tried to raise further funds through his lectures and demonstrations in Bombay and Pune. The government granted him some land by the side of his house in Calcutta. In 1917, the institute was formally inaugurated. Tagore composed a song specially for the occasion. The building was designed by Jagdish Bose himself in the Mauryan style, and the details worked out by an artist, Nandlal Bose. The institute has since been named after him and is now one of the premier research centers in India.
That is the end of section 2. In section 3, you will hear a part of a talk on study skills. After you listen to the lecture, answer questions 12 to 15 by writing T if the information is true and F if the information is false. You will not see the questions on screen before you listen to the passage. Now, listen to the lecture on study skills.
Well, let me begin by welcoming the freshers to the college. This is the first session on study skills. Students in the past stated that these sessions have been very useful to them. You should first realize being in college is different from being at school. Here, you will be treated more as an equal, but you will also be expected to do much more independent. Hence, it is necessary for you to work out your own study program and stick to it. You may also be asked to do things that you may not have done in school, taking part in seminars and tutorials, for example. This is going to be the theme for today's discussion, and I would first like to stress on speaking skills. However, I am not going to talk about pronunciation. Rather, I shall focus on the way in which we structure.
You just heard a lecture on study skills. You may now read the statements that come on screen and mark T if the statement is true or mark F if the statement is false. That is the end of section 3. You now have half a minute to check your answers. Stop writing now. You must be eagerly waiting for the answers of the test that you have just taken. You will now see on the screen the key to the test. Answers to the test. 1. Yusuf, Y-O-U-S-U-F. 2. Abdul. 3. Diploma in Electronics and Communications Engineering. 4. 02009 EC47. 5. 49. 6. Gandhinagar. 7. Royal Institute of England. 8 and 9. Bombay and Pune in any order. 10. 1917. 11. Mauryan. 12. T. 13. F. 14. T. And 15. T. Now students, for each correct response, give yourself 1 mark. If you have scored between 13 and 15, you are a very good listener. If you have scored less than 10, please keep trying and keep practicing. Thank you students for being a part of a game that has, I hope, consciously or unconsciously improved your listening skills. We'll be back again with yet another test on listening skills to sharpen your listening skills. Thank you very much for being with me today.